Good afternoon. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive. Today is Tuesday, February 21st, and we welcome you to our weekly Westchester update. We're doing this obviously on a Tuesday because yesterday, Monday, was the federal holiday, state holiday for President's Day, and we're here to give you in a shortened week, a shortened report, give you an update on a couple of key things, some events that are coming up this week, and we'll be back next Monday for the usual Monday report at 2 o'clock. I'll be joined in a few minutes by Bridget Gibbons, who's our Director of Economic Development. She's got a particularly interesting story to tell about a job fair that we have coming up. And of course, I'll be joined by Deputy County Executive Ken Jenkins, who'll go over a couple of events that we have coming up, one coming up this week and then one that's in an ongoing situation. Just want to mention that at the present time, our colleagues who represent Westchester County and all across the state in the New York State Assembly and the New York State Senate are in the process of reviewing the governor's budget for the year 2023-24. Budget has to be closed by April 1st. It was presented to the legislature on February 1st, and then in the next 10 days or so, the governor has the opportunity to submit 30-day amendments, which may amend the budget as before us. Why do we as a county government care about the state government? Because so many of the issues that are policies made at the state level directly affect us in finance and housing and a host of other different issues. So we are monitoring it very closely. Stephen Bass, who is our Director of Intergovernmental Services, and his team are interacting on a regular basis with our state legislators. And you should be aware that as you look at the state budget, it includes a multiple of issues far beyond things that the county government itself is involved in: education, health care, transportation, you name it. And with that thought in mind, today the New York State Senate, our Westchester delegation, is having a budget hearing virtually on Zoom. Begins at 6 o'clock, goes to 8 o'clock. If you'd like any additional information, you can check any of the state senators. They'll be happy to give you that information. State Senator Andrea Stewart-Cousins is the majority leader of the Senate. She represents the western half of the county. Shelley Mayer is the senator who represents most of the eastern portion of Westchester County. Peter Harcum has the northern portion of it, and some Putnam and a little bit of Rockland County. And Senator Natalia Fernandez represents all of the town of Pelham, half of the city of New Rochelle, and then a section of the Bronx. Any one of the four senators would be happy to give you a link. You can go on, you can see the issues that are being discussed in the state budget. And we at the county level, whether the issues that affect us directly are going to be discussed or not, we have put together a state legislative package cooperatively with the Board of Legislators, a unanimous bipartisan package of issues that we want to see the state work with us on. And then, of course, we're interacting with elected officials at the state level to try to impact those policies. Those policies could affect the way we operate our budget and our programs and services here in the county, but more of that will become apparent once the state budget comes closer to closure. But we want to highlight this for you now. It's February. As we get closer to April 1st, we'll have a little more dialogue on that point. Next, I want to bring on our Director of Economic Development, Bridget Gibbons. She has done a marvelous job with her team in doing innovative things, large and small. And what we have to announce is a very diverse job fair, one in our series of job fairs where we're working with local businesses and individuals in the community to try to match them up in a positive light. So, Bridget Gibbons.
Thank you, County Executive. Born out of an initiative to combat the nationwide high unemployment rate among people with disabilities, we're happy to announce our upcoming Diverse Abilities Job Fair on Monday, February 27th. Organized by my colleagues Sherry Rosen-Asher and Martha Lopez, this hiring event will bring together representatives from Amazon, CVS, the New York Power Authority, White Plains Hospital, and 25 other major local employers from across all sectors, offering part-time, full-time opportunities, including entry-level professional and transition programs. The event is full with over 225 job seekers pre-registered. The candidates with disabilities will be able to interview on the spot with employers while discussing any special accommodations that are needed. This high response rate really indicates and demonstrates that there's a real need in the county for this type of event. We will also have a resource room with representatives from the Westchester Putnam Career Center, the Office for People with Disabilities, the Spark, Access VR, and the Hearing Loss Association. For more information about this event and future Diverse Abilities Jobs Fairs, you can contact me or my colleague Sherry Rosen-Asher at 914-995-2900. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bridget. And you can get more information by directly contacting Bridget Gibbons You can look on our website, westchestergov.com, and there'll be some information there about this job fair. We're very happy to try these different means of connecting potential job seekers with potential jobs. We know we have a very low unemployment rate right now in this area, and that is a positive thing for all many indicators out there that are not positive. The lower employment rate is a positive indicator, but for those who are job searching and for those who need people to fill those jobs, this is a good matchup between them. And in this particular case, as we reach out to people who have diversely abled issues, then we think this could well be a good matchup and help employ someone who might otherwise not find that employment. So, Bridget, thank you again for your leadership on this, and do project to Sherry Asher as well our appreciation for her work on all of this. Next, I'd like to just cover with you very briefly what's coming up in the world of voting. I'll be joined by Ken Jenkins here, who's our Deputy County Executive. Right now, as we speak, there's a special election that is underway. Early voting is underway to replace a vacancy in the Westchester County Board of Legislators. There's 17 seats in the county legislature. One of those seats was occupied by Mary Jane Shimsky for many years. She represented a section of the town of Greenburgh that included villages, and she was elected to the New York State Assembly last November, resigned her seat, as is the case, to take on her new responsibilities, and now we have a special election that's scheduled for a week from today. Election day itself is scheduled for a week from today, Tuesday, February 28th. It involves those residents who vote in the village of Hastings, the village of Dobbs Ferry, the village of Ardsley, the hamlet of Edgemont, a section of Hartsdale, which is along the midsection of Greenburgh going over to the Bronx River, and that is the 12th County Legislative District, and it has been ably represented in the past by a number of legislators who have gone on to higher office. The last 3 county legislators have all gone on to Albany, and so now we look at replacing that. There is an election, and there's early voting that's underway. Early voting today, Tuesday, February 21st, is in 2 locations for this election. You can vote early if you live in this district in Hastings-on-Hudson's Public Library, which is 7 Maple Avenue in the village of Hastings, and also at Greenburgh Town Hall, which is 177 Hillside Avenue in White Plains. And both of those locations are open at various times. Today, Tuesday, February 21st, those 2 sites are open until 8 o'clock tonight, where you could vote early. That will be the same on Thursday of this week, when they'll be open from 12 noon to 8 o'clock. Tomorrow, Wednesday, and Friday as well, those 2 early voting sites will be open from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. And then this weekend, Saturday, February 25, Sunday, February 26, those 2 locations will be open from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. All individuals who live in that jurisdiction are welcome to come out and vote and cast their ballots. The election day itself, special election day, is Tuesday, February 28th. The polls open as they usually do, 6 a.m. in the morning. It goes until 9 p.m. at night, and that's at all of the different local election precincts that exist within that area. There's 50-some-odd election districts within that area, and you'll have a chance to have your vote. Since this is a special election, the person who wins the seat will be certified as quickly as possible. Normally, if you get elected in November, you take office the 1st of January. In the middle of a term, we try to have the person seated as soon as possible so that as issues arise in the legislature, those people can be represented by their own voice, and all of that will happen. And that will complete itself voting-wise next Tuesday, but that's not the end of our voting. A month from today, on Tuesday, March 21st, there will be village elections in those villages that have March elections. Now, villages can have their elections in March, or they can have them in November, and quite a number of them over the last few years have had referendums in their community and made the decision to vote in November for village officials rather than in March. This is one of those New York State quirks where villages are the only jurisdiction that can vote in March. Towns and cities routinely vote in November. And so now villages like Larchmont, Hastings-on-Hudson, Tuckahoe have recently passed referendums, and they join communities that have done November elections dating back a number of years. Mamaroneck Village, Dobbs Ferry is in November, Irvington is in November, Tarrytown is in November, Croton-on-Hudson is in November. But there are some villages that will cast their vote a month from today on Tuesday, March 21st. Those include the village of Bronxville, where the mayoralty and 2 village trustee seats are at stake. In the village of Elmsford, where there is a village justice seat up for grabs. The Pleasantville Village, there'll be 2 trustee seats and the village justice on the ballot. In Portchester, the mayoralty of Portchester is on the ballot, and in Sleepy Hollow, the mayor and trustees are on the ballot. So in those communities, you will have the opportunity in March to select your local officials. And to the extent that there's some difference between cities and towns and authorities and villages and towns, the village, the town, or the city is your most local level of government, depending on where you live. They are the folks that control zoning and planning. They're the folks that generally have the responsibility for police, fire, sanitation, collection, at least on the street that you live on. They provide certain basic local recreation, and they have the annual budget, which is reflected in your village taxes, which is usually a little larger than your town taxes if you live in a village. A lot of complications. You're not here to get a master's degree in public administration. What you are here to do is to know that if you live in one of those villages, you will be voting in a month's time, and you should take the time necessary, consult the League of Women Voters. They'll have information available online so that you know who the candidates are and what some of the issues are in your local community. In the month between now and the 21st of March, there'll no doubt be some debates where we have competitive elections, and you'll be able to see the candidates either in person or remotely and make your choices. So that's village elections. And then someone may be knocking on your door if you are a registered member of one of the 4 organized political parties, the Republican, the Democratic, the Conservative, and the Working Families Party. Beginning a week from today, Tuesday, February 28th, will begin the annual petitioning process where those individuals who are seeking November election in one of those major parties, or more than one of those major parties, will have volunteers coming to the door to get your signature. If you are a registered member of one of those 4 political parties, then you can sign a petition for candidates from the political party that you're a member of. And now you're looking ahead to what's on the ballot in November, and conceivably in a primary in June. And that would be all of the remaining towns and the cities that will have some level of elections that will be going on. There may be some special elections yet to be determined, and the 17 members of the Westchester County Board of Legislators will also be on the ballot, and there'll be some judicial positions that'll be on the ballot. There's a county judge position and then some state Supreme Court positions. So if you are a registered member in one of those parties, Republican, Democrat, Conservative, or Working Families, beginning next Tuesday, you may have a volunteer come and ask for your signature to qualify candidates for the ballot. In some cases, there may be multiple candidates that are competing, and if they both qualify for the ballot, then you'll have a primary, and those primaries will occur on June 27th, and that will select the registrant of each of those parties that will be in that position. Again, I'm not trying to give you Politics 101, but we do want you to be informed, because many times these important governmental positions and the process by which people get elected or selected is unknown to folks. And frankly, in a busy life, you're raising your children, you have your career, you have your avocation, you're following whatever you're following in entertainment, on television, and so forth, and an election or a political process could be irrelevant until an issue arises, until you don't know who your village trustee is, or your mayor, or your councilman, or your county legislator, or your county executive, for that matter. So I encourage you, be engaged in the process, be aware of what's happening, and all of these things are happening in the next few weeks. We will remind people in our updated broadcast when these elections are happening. We do not take positions in a governmental context on elections, but we do want to keep you informed. We also want to keep you informed that we've got a terrific program coming up this week, sponsored by the African American Advisory Council for Westchester County in honor of Black History Month. It's an annual event. Ken Jenkins will tell you all about it. He's the MC of it as well. And so with a great degree of pride, I give you Ken to talk about that, and then also our ongoing exhibit at Lasden regarding butterflies. Ken.
Thanks, George. And certainly it is it's a privilege to be able to be the host and the MC for the Trailblazers Preserving Our Legacy program. This is a long-running program that has been done by our African American Advisory Board for several years, and it's changed into the virtual format, which gave us a lot of different opportunities to have different people get to see that. So it's going to be on Thursday, the 23rd. Starting at 6 p.m. It'll be on Facebook Live and some other streaming platforms that we do, but go to Facebook Live to pick it up from there. And it is certainly a celebration of the tremendous achievements and folks in Westchester County that have led to Westchester County being so great for so many people over the years, and having the opportunity whether to visit the African American Heritage Trail that goes through Westchester County, seeing some stops on the Underground Railroad, seeing Madam C.J. Walker's house that's in Irvington. I mean, there's a lot of great history that's woven in between Westchester County, and it's a good opportunity to see that. This year, we're going to start with honoring two of our outstanding African-American citizens for Westchester County. C. Douglas Dixon, most of us just call him Doug Dixon, whose financial acumen and the work that he's done in that area has been tremendous. He's navigated through so many things, but look forward to seeing him and the conversation that we're going to have with him on Thursday. And then for economic development, we have the Madam C.J. Walker Award, the aforementioned Madam C.J. Walker, for Dr. Valerie Mason Cunningham. Most of us know her now from her work leading the board on Volunteer New York, but she has done some tremendous corporate work that led her to this particular place, and her volunteer work is just an example of how she's been able to navigate through so many different things. We also are going to be pleased this year to present a little bit of a different scenario with someone from Westchester has been their own trailblazer, and that's our good friend Vinnie Bagwell from Yonkers, who's done so many things as far as public work and starting the public arts display in her sculptures, and whether it was Ella Fitzgerald in Yonkers, and down to the latest exhibit that we have, the enslaved African rain garden that's in Westchester County in Yonkers, in the city of Yonkers, right on the water. It's a beautiful and wonderful display on the Riverwalk, and it's going to be a great time to have this conversation and hear from her. So on Thursday, 6 p.m., tune into Facebook Live to see our Trailblazers Award ceremony. And again, it's going to be a fabulous use of your time. You're not gonna walk away disappointed. So again, I'm looking forward to seeing as many of you on the count on Facebook Live on Thursday. We also have, out of our nationally accredited, award-winning park system, the continuing amazing butterfly exhibit at Lasden. And we've talked about this a few times, and we're talking about it because it is a tremendous exhibition that's done by Minotaur Mazes of Seattle, and it's an immersive experience so people could get engaged and involved. And you're like, well, wait a second, when we were talking about this before, who knew that we were going to have a 65-degree day in February on President's Day? That would have been a great opportunity for you to go up to Lasden, walk around through the maze. You'll be able to discover fascinating facts about our planet's most amazing life cycles. But you beware, because that maze includes a lot of dead ends down which there lurks poisonous plants and predators ready to pounce. So you choose the right route, you get your card stamped along the way, and you emerge as a beautiful butterfly. It's going to go on from now until May 7th. And if you check on the Friends of Lasden Park website, lasdenpark.org, or call 914-864-7268. Again, it's another one of those great opportunities that are provided outside in our outstanding, award-winning, nationally recognized park system. Take advantage of it. It's part of the Westchester County legacy. Back to you, George.
Thank you, Ken. Thanks very much, Ken. Ken Jenkins, our Deputy County Executive. We have loads of issues that come into our attention on an ongoing basis. The fact that Ken and I are out in the community just about every night and every day, we pick up a wide range of issues, and there are things that we intend to follow up on, and we'll report to you as we have information. We've had communication from the residents that were displaced by the fire on Calvert Street in Harrison. That is not primarily a county responsibility, but we are trying to figure out what the latest realities are and try to communicate back to those residents. We're hopeful that we're going to be able to work with the Board of Legislators on an issue that's risen from the northern part of the county, primarily of school parents that want to see a school bus camera arm law passed, and whether that's a county law or municipal law. We're trying to do some diving down to understand that. It may be a local option because it hasn't been in as much demand in every part of the county. If we act as a county, we're acting for the whole county, which may or may not be the best way to handle this. But we're looking at that, and we're trying to see if we can resolve that as well. We're mindful of issues that are both symbolic as well as substantive. The Board of Legislators will be dealing with the bill that we've submitted about a month ago that would require candidates for county office, that's the only area that we cover, to be able to submit a certified resume when they submit their final acceptance for running for office. I mentioned about the petitioning process. When the petitioning is over and the petitions are submitted, the Board of Elections will certify that there's significant signatures, and if that is the case, then those individuals who are competing for county legislator, if this law passes, would then have to provide a formal resume that would assert, under penalty of the law, the facts of their education, their personal background, their employment history, any military history. So to deal with this situation that we've dealt with George Santos out on Long Island. So there's a host of little things going on. We hope to manage those processes as well as we can, report back to you as soon as we can. But we thank you for taking a few minutes of time for this report. We'll see you again next Monday at 2 o'clock. And before the week is over, we'll be back to communicate on a couple of other interesting updates that are issue-specific and we hope you will find helpful. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive. Thanks for watching. Have a good week.